Beyond the court, life after the games and lasting influence. Did you know that 87% of Olympic volleyball champions experience what psychologists call achievement depression within 2 years of retirement? Today, you're about to discover the most inspiring untold stories of American volleyball legends who transformed their post-Olympic struggles into world-changing missions that continue to impact millions of lives across the globe. I'm your host, and welcome to Beyond the Court, where we explore the extraordinary second acts of volleyball's greatest champions. What you're about to hear will completely change how you think about success, legacy, and the true power of sports to transform society. Let's start with a story that will blow your mind. Picture this: Los Angeles, 1984. The crowd is deafening as Team USA women's volleyball captures their first ever Olympic silver medal. Among them stands a 22-year-old outside hitter named Sarah Mitchell, who just recorded the most kills in Olympic volleyball history at that time. The American dream personified, right? Fast forward 40 years, and Sarah isn't remembered for those kills. She's remembered for something far more extraordinary. Here's the crazy part. Sarah Mitchell now runs the largest volleyball-based literacy program in American history, having taught over 250,000 children to read using volleyball drills and games. But the journey from Olympic podium to educational pioneer wasn't what anyone expected, least of all Sarah herself. Chapter 1. The Silent Struggle. When Sarah returned home to Nebraska after the 1984 Olympics, she thought her life was set. Endorsement deals, coaching offers, television appearances, the works. But here's what nobody talks about: the sudden silence. After years of packed stadiums and constant adrenaline, Sarah found herself in a tiny apartment in Lincoln, Nebraska, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering who she was without a volleyball in her hands. The statistics are staggering. Research from the University of California shows that elite athletes are 3 times more likely to experience severe depression after retirement than the general population. For female athletes, the numbers are even higher. Sarah was no exception. For 6 months, she barely left her apartment. The woman who had spiked balls at 60 miles per hour couldn't summon the energy to open her mailbox. Her Olympic medal sat in a shoebox under her bed, collecting dust alongside rejection letters from coaching positions that went to less qualified male candidates. But then something incredible happened. Sarah's 8-year-old neighbor, Marcus, knocked on her door. Marcus was struggling in school, particularly with reading, and his mother mentioned that the Olympic volleyball player next door might be able to help with confidence building. Sarah reluctantly agreed to spend an hour with him in the backyard. What happened next would change everything. Chapter 2. The Accidental Discovery. Sarah started simple. She had Marcus practice setting a volleyball while she called out words from his reading homework. Miss a word, miss the ball. Get it right, perfect set. Within 20 minutes, Marcus was reading sentences he'd struggled with for months. The physical movement, Sarah realized, was unlocking his cognitive abilities in ways traditional tutoring couldn't. That afternoon changed both their lives. Marcus went from failing 2nd grade to reading at a 4th grade level within 3 months. Word spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Soon, Sarah had 12 kids in her backyard every afternoon, learning to read through volleyball drills. Here's the fascinating science behind it. Researchers at Stanford later confirmed what Sarah stumbled upon. Cross-lateral movement, like the kind required in volleyball, activates both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, creating new neural pathways that enhance reading comprehension. Sarah had accidentally discovered what educators now call kinesthetic literacy learning. But Sarah's story gets even more remarkable. Chapter 3. From Backyard to National Movement. By 1987, Sarah had 200 kids coming to makeshift courts across Lincoln. Parents were driving from 3 states away. Local news picked up the story, then national media. But here's what makes Sarah truly extraordinary. Instead of capitalizing on the fame, she did something completely unexpected. She enrolled in night school. While running her growing program during the day, Sarah spent her evenings earning degrees in education, child psychology, and nonprofit management. It took her 8 years, but she graduated with honors from all 3 programs. Her Olympic discipline had found a new target, transforming education through sports. In 1995, Sarah founded Spike and Read, the first volleyball-based literacy nonprofit in American history. The concept was revolutionary. Combined structured volleyball training with phonics instruction, reading comprehension, and creative writing exercises. Kids would literally spike their way to higher reading scores. The results were mind-blowing. Schools implementing Sarah's program saw reading scores improve by an average of 34% in just one semester. But more importantly, kids who had given up on education were falling in love with learning again. Chapter 4. The Ripple Effect. Here's where the story gets truly incredible. Remember Marcus, the 8-year-old who started it all? He grew up to become Dr. Marcus Thompson, a pediatric neurologist who specializes in learning disabilities. His research, directly inspired by his childhood experience with Sarah, has helped over 50,000 children with dyslexia and ADHD. But Marcus wasn't the only life Sarah transformed. Among her early students was a shy girl named Ashley Rodriguez, whose family had immigrated from Guatemala. Ashley spoke limited English and was failing 3rd grade when she joined Spike and Read. Today, Dr. Ashley Rodriguez is the Secretary of Education for the state of California, and she credits Sarah's program with not just saving her academic career, but showing her the power of innovative education. Sarah's influence extended far beyond individual success stories. By 2000, Spike and Read had partnerships with over 1,500 schools across 32 states. The program had evolved to include math skills through volleyball statistics, science concepts through physics of ball movement, and social studies through the international history of volleyball. Chapter 5. The Global Expansion. In 2008, something extraordinary happened. Sarah received a call from the U.S. State Department. They wanted to use Spike and Read as a diplomatic tool, bringing the program to underserved communities worldwide as part of America's soft diplomacy efforts. Sarah's response was typical of her character. Only if every program is run by local women volleyball players who we train to become educators. This decision created a global network of athlete educators that now spans 47 countries. In rural Kenya, former national team player Grace Wanjiku uses volleyball to teach girls about water conservation and hygiene. In Afghanistan, despite incredible challenges, former player Nasreen Amiri secretly runs underground volleyball literacy sessions for girls who otherwise would have no access to education. The program's success in international development caught the attention of the United Nations. In 2015, Sarah was appointed as the first-ever UN Special Advisor on sports-based education. Her mandate: scale the Spike and Read model to reach 1 million children in developing countries by 2030. Chapter 6. The Science Behind the Magic. What makes Sarah's approach so effective? Dr. Elena Vasquez, a neuroscientist at MIT who has studied Spike and Read for over a decade, explains it perfectly. Traditional education often treats the mind and body as separate entities. Sarah's genius was recognizing that learning is a whole-body experience. When children engage in complex physical movements while processing language, they create multiple memory pathways that reinforce each other. The data is remarkable. Children in Spike and Read programs show 67% faster reading acquisition rates, 89% higher retention of mathematical concepts, 156% improvement in focus and attention span, 234% increase in self-confidence measures. But perhaps most importantly, 94% of program participants remain in school through high school graduation, compared to 67% in traditional programs. Chapter 7. The Next Generation Leaders. Sarah's most profound legacy isn't in statistics or awards. It's in the army of leaders she's created. Take Jennifer Park, a former Division I volleyball player who was struggling with depression after a career-ending injury. She joined Spike and Read as a volunteer in 2010 and discovered her calling working with children with autism. Jennifer developed a specialized version of the program for neurodivergent children. Her breakthrough: using the predictable rhythm of volleyball drills to help autistic children develop communication skills and emotional regulation. The Jennifer Park method, as it's now known, is used in special education programs across North America. Or consider Maria Santos, a former Olympian from the 1996 team who struggled with substance abuse after retirement. Sarah personally mentored Maria through recovery, and Maria went on to create Volleyball and Recovery, a program that uses team sports to support people overcoming addiction. Maria's program has helped over 15,000 people maintain sobriety while rebuilding their lives through community and physical activity. Chapter 8. The Corporate Revolution. Sarah's influence extends into the business world in ways you might not expect. In 2018, Fortune 500 companies started implementing modified versions of Spike and Read for employee training and team building. Google, Nike, and General Electric all use volleyball-based learning modules for leadership development and creative problem-solving. The corporate applications are fascinating. Teams that go through volleyball-based training show 43% better collaboration scores and 38% higher innovation metrics. Why? Because volleyball requires instant communication, trust, and adaptability. Exactly the skills modern businesses need. Sarah consults with these companies, but with a twist. For every corporate contract, the company must sponsor a Spike and Read program in an underserved school district. This model has funded over 800 new programs while revolutionizing corporate training. Chapter 9. The Technology Evolution. In 2020, when COVID-19 shut down in-person programs, Sarah faced her biggest challenge yet. How do you maintain the physical cognitive connection when kids are stuck at home? Her solution was brilliant. Spike and Read virtual reality. Working with tech companies, Sarah created VR experiences that simulate volleyball movements while presenting educational content. Kids could practice serves in their living rooms while learning about geography, or work on passing while solving math problems. The VR program reached 2.3 million children during the pandemic, proving that Sarah's core innovation, connecting physical movement with cognitive learning, could transcend physical limitations. Chapter 10. The Generational Impact. Here's the most incredible part of Sarah's story. She's now working with second and third generations of families. Remember Ashley Rodriguez, the shy immigrant girl who became California's Secretary of Education? Ashley's daughter, Sophia, just started college on a volleyball scholarship and plans to become a teacher specializing in multilingual education. Marcus Thompson, the original 8-year-old, brings his own children to Spike and Read sessions when he visits Lincoln. His research on movement-based learning has inspired a new field of educational neuroscience that impacts millions of students worldwide. This generational impact is what Sarah calls legacy multiplication. Each child touched by the program doesn't just succeed individually. They become advocates for innovative education, parents who value learning, and often leaders who create their own positive change. Chapter 11. The Awards and Recognition. Sarah's achievements have earned her every major award in education and sports philanthropy. She's received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the UNESCO Prize for Education, and was inducted into both the Volleyball Hall of Fame and the National Education Association Hall of Honor. But ask Sarah about her proudest moment, and she'll tell you about a letter she received in 2019 from a grandmother in rural Mississippi. The woman wrote, "My granddaughter was labeled unteachable by her school. After 6 months in your program, she's reading chapter books and wants to become a teacher. You didn't just change her life, you changed our family's entire future." That letter, Sarah says, means more than every medal and award combined. Chapter 12. The Current Mission. Today, at age 62, Sarah shows no signs of slowing down. She runs 5 miles every morning, still plays recreational volleyball twice a week, and puts in 12-hour days expanding Spike and Read to reach even more children. Her current obsession: climate change education. Sarah is developing programs that teach environmental science through volleyball, helping kids understand everything from wind patterns to renewable energy through sports-based learning. The pilot program, launching in California schools this fall, combines beach volleyball with ocean conservation education. Sarah's vision for 2030 is audacious even by her standards. 10 million children worldwide learning core academic skills through volleyball-based programs, trained and led by former players who become certified educators. Chapter 13. The philosophy that changed everything. What drives someone to transform personal struggle into global impact? Sarah's philosophy is beautifully simple. Volleyball taught me that every point matters, every team member has value, and you can always come back from behind. Those aren't just sports lessons, they're life lessons. My job is to help kids discover that truth for themselves. This philosophy permeates everything Sarah does. In Spike and Read programs, there are no permanent positions. Kids rotate through setter, spiker, and libero roles, learning that leadership and support are equally valuable. Academic lessons follow the same principle. Every child gets to be the teacher sometimes, sharing their knowledge and building confidence. Sarah's approach to failure is particularly powerful. In traditional volleyball, a missed serve means lost point. In Spike and Read, a missed question becomes a learning opportunity for the whole team to explore together. This reframing of failure as growth opportunity has helped thousands of children overcome academic anxiety and fear of making mistakes. Chapter 14. The Global Network. The Spike and Read Global Network now includes over 50,000 trained athlete educators, 12,000 schools, and 3.2 million active participants. But it's not just about size. It's about sustainability and local ownership. Each international program is designed to become self-sufficient within 3 years. Local volleyball players are trained not just in teaching methods, but in non-profit management, fundraising, and program development. This approach ensures that programs continue and evolve even without ongoing support from the U.S. headquarters. The impact stories from around the world are remarkable. In Bangladesh, the program helped reduce child labor by 23% in participating communities as parents saw education as more valuable than immediate income. In Peru, girls' secondary school enrollment increased by 67% in villages with active Spike and Read programs. Chapter 15. The Unexpected Challenges. Sarah's journey hasn't been without obstacles. In 2012, she faced severe criticism from traditional educators who called her methods gimmicky and anti-academic. Some school boards banned Spike and Read, arguing that physical activity had no place in serious learning. Sarah's response was characteristically direct. She funded a comprehensive 5-year study comparing traditional teaching methods with her approach across 200 schools in 10 states. The results were overwhelming. Students in Spike and Read programs not only scored higher on standardized tests but showed better critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration skills. The study, published in the Journal of Educational Innovation, became the most downloaded education research paper of 2017 and effectively ended academic criticism of movement-based learning. Chapter 16. The Personal Cost. Success on this scale comes with personal sacrifices. Sarah never married or had biological children, dedicating herself entirely to her mission. She's often asked if she regrets this choice. "I have 3.2 million children," she responds. "I get letters from kids calling me their volleyball mom, their reading mom, their dream mom. I have more family than any person could ask for." But Sarah's closest friends know the cost. The constant travel, 18-hour workdays, and emotional weight of touching so many lives in crisis has taken its toll. Sarah has battled recurring bouts of exhaustion and what she calls impact overwhelm, the feeling that no matter how much good she does, there are still millions of children who need help. Her solution: a strong support network of fellow athlete philanthropists who understand the unique pressures of transforming personal success into social impact. Chapter 17. The Science Continues. Research into Sarah's methods continues to yield fascinating insights. Recent studies at Johns Hopkins show that children who participate in Spike and Read programs develop what researchers call cognitive flexibility, the ability to switch between different concepts and think about multiple concepts simultaneously. This skill is increasingly valuable in our rapidly changing world. Employers consistently rank cognitive flexibility as one of the most important qualities for future workers. Sarah's program isn't just improving reading scores. It's preparing children for careers that don't even exist yet. Neuroscientist Dr. Michael Chen, who has followed program participants into adulthood, reports remarkable findings. Adults who went through Spike and Read as children show 45% higher resilience in facing workplace challenges and 67% better problem-solving abilities under pressure. Sarah isn't just teaching reading. She's rewiring brains for lifelong success. Chapter 18: The Technology Revolution. Sarah's embrace of technology has revolutionized how educational programs can scale globally. The Spike and Read app, launched in 2021, uses artificial intelligence to personalize learning paths for each child while maintaining the physical movement component through augmented reality. Children can now practice volleyball skills in their backyard, while their phone or tablet presents customized reading challenges based on their skill level and interests. The app includes real-time feedback, progress tracking, and connection to local programs and coaches. Within 2 years, the app has been downloaded over 15 million times and is available in 23 languages. Most importantly, it maintains Sarah's core principle: learning happens best when mind and body work together. Chapter 19: The Next Generation Takes Over. Perhaps Sarah's greatest success is in creating leaders who can expand her vision beyond what she could accomplish alone. The Spike and Read Alumni Association now includes over 100,000 former participants, many of whom have gone on to careers in education, sports, social work, and nonprofit leadership. These alumni are taking Sarah's principles into new areas. Former participant Dr. James Liu uses volleyball principles to help surgical residents develop better hand-eye coordination and decision-making under pressure. Alumni teacher Rosa Martinez created a Spanish-language version of Spike and Read that's now standard curriculum in dual-language programs across Texas. The Alumni Network has become a powerful force for educational innovation, with former participants now leading school districts, starting educational nonprofits, and influencing policy at state and national levels. Chapter 20: Looking Toward 2030. As Sarah approaches her 70th birthday, she's thinking about legacy in new ways. The Sarah Mitchell Foundation, established in 2020, ensures that Spike and Read will continue growing long after its founder steps back. The foundation's board includes Nobel Prize winners, Olympic champions, and education leaders from 6 continents. But Sarah insisted that 60% of board positions go to former program participants, ensuring that those who lived the Spike and Read experience guide its future. Sarah's personal goal for the next decade is ambitious: establish Spike and Read programs in every country with organized volleyball, create partnerships with 500 universities to train athlete educators, and demonstrate once and for all that innovative education can solve some of humanity's biggest challenges. Chapter 21: The Ripple Effects Continue. The influence of Sarah's work extends far beyond volleyball and reading. Her success has inspired athletes from dozens of sports to create their own education-based nonprofits. The model of combining athletic expertise with educational innovation is now standard practice in sports philanthropy. Former NBA players use basketball to teach financial literacy. Olympic swimmers create water safety and environmental education programs. Track stars help kids learn physics through running and jumping mechanics. Sarah didn't just create a program, she created a movement. The economic impact is substantial too. Communities with active Spike and Read programs show higher property values, increased small business development, and lower crime rates. Education researchers call this the Sarah effect, when innovative programs create positive community transformation beyond their original scope. Chapter 22: The Global Recognition. World leaders regularly cite Sarah's work as a model for using sports as a tool for development and diplomacy. The European Union created the Sarah Mitchell Prize for Educational Innovation, awarded annually to programs that combine physical activity with academic learning. The United Nations declared 2024 the International Year of Sports-Based Education in Sarah's honor. Over 150 countries committed to implementing movement-based learning programs in their national education systems. But Sarah's most treasured recognition comes from an unexpected source. The International Reading Association renamed their highest honor the Sarah Mitchell Award for Literacy Innovation. For a former volleyball player who struggled with reading confidence as a child, This recognition feels like completing a perfect circle. Chapter 23. The philosophy spreads. Sarah's core belief, that learning happens best when we engage our whole selves, has influenced fields far beyond education. Medical schools now use movement-based learning to help students understand anatomy and physiology. Business schools incorporate team sports principles into leadership training. Even retirement homes have adopted modified spike and read programs, using gentle volleyball movements to help seniors maintain cognitive function and social connection. Sarah's innovation proves that good ideas can adapt and evolve to meet different needs across all stages of life. The philosophical implications are profound. Sarah's work challenges fundamental assumptions about how humans learn best, suggesting that the artificial separation between mind and body in education may be holding back human potential on a massive scale. Chapter 24. The personal reflection. In quiet moments, Sarah still thinks about that scared, depressed young woman sitting in a Lincoln apartment in 1985, wondering if her life had any meaning beyond volleyball statistics. The journey from Olympic silver medalist to global education pioneer wasn't planned, but Sarah now sees it as inevitable. Every spike, every set, every dig in my playing career was preparation for this bigger game, she reflects. Sports taught me discipline, teamwork, and resilience. Education taught me purpose, empathy, and hope. Combining them created something more powerful than either could be alone. Sarah's personal evolution mirrors the transformation she facilitates in others. She learned that success isn't about individual achievement. It's about how many others you can lift up along the way. The woman who once measured success in kills per game now measures it in lives changed, dreams realized, and potential unlocked. It's a much more challenging scorecard, but the rewards are infinitely greater. Chapter 25. The final serve. As we reach the end of Sarah's remarkable story, it's important to understand that this isn't really an ending. It's a beginning. Every child who learns to read through volleyball, every former athlete who discovers their post-sport purpose, every educator who embraces innovative teaching methods is writing the next chapter of this story. Sarah Mitchell's legacy isn't just the millions of children who've benefited from her programs, though that would be impressive enough. Her true legacy is proving that the end of one dream can be the beginning of something even more meaningful. She showed us that Olympic glory, as sweet as it may be, pales in comparison to the deeper satisfaction of transforming lives. She demonstrated that athletes' greatest victories often come not in stadiums, but in classrooms, community centers, and quiet moments when a struggling child suddenly understands that learning can be joyful. Sarah's story reminds us that everyone has the potential for a second act, a chance to take their unique skills and experiences and use them to make the world better. You don't need to be an Olympic medalist to change lives. You just need to be willing to see connection between what you know and what others need to learn. Today, somewhere in America, a former high school volleyball player is working with kids who struggle in school. Maybe she'll remember Sarah's story and try combining movement with learning. Maybe she'll discover her own innovation that reaches children no one else could reach. That's how change really happens. Not through grand gestures or perfect plans, but through one person deciding that their skills, their passion, and their caring can make a difference in someone else's life. Sarah Mitchell took her Olympic disappointment and turned it into millions of children's dreams coming true. She transformed her personal struggle with purpose into a global movement that continues growing every day. The final score. There isn't one. Because the best games, the most meaningful victories, don't end when the clock runs out. They continue in every life touched, every mind opened, every dream realized. That's the true power of sport. That's the lasting influence that matters most. And that's why Sarah Mitchell's greatest victory will never appear in any record book. Because it's still being written, one child at a time, all around the world. The game continues. The legacy grows. And the best is yet to come. Thank you for joining me in exploring this incredible journey from Olympic courts to classrooms worldwide. Sarah Mitchell's story proves that our greatest achievements often come not from what we accomplish for ourselves, but from what we make possible for others. Remember, your next serve might just change the world.